Okay, if everybody's ready, we'll get started. Tonight is May 31st, 2016. Welcome to the May regular city council meeting. The residents here and staff, the city council, welcome. Call the roll.
Ms. Billingsley,
Here.
Chandler,
Here.
Gladden,
Here.
Henson,
Here.
Rodell,
Here.
Carpenter,
Here.
Miller, here, Higginbotham,
Here.
Mayor Davis.
Have the board, if everybody will stand, I'm going to ask all of the chambers to come up and pray for us.
Our dear Heavenly Father, so thankful, Lord, for this day and all the blessings that you've given us. We pray, Lord, that you be with us tonight as we make decisions that are the city, that we will do so in a manner pleasing to you. Watch over us all in our daily lives and protect us and help us to be examples to those around us. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, I have a motion to approve the April 26th regular city council meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do I have a motion to approve the special council meeting minutes from May 19th?
So moved.
Did you get good news?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, do we have any committee or commission reports tonight that will not be covered in later business here at the meeting? Okay, first I'd like to call Alderman Billingsley, also President of the Chamber of Commerce, to introduce our new Chamber Director.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Dabbs. I would appreciate this opportunity to introduce our newest member of the Chamber staff. He started officially today, and we're baptizing him by fire. So Todd Roden, would you let everyone know who you are? And welcome to Bryant.
I do. Mayor, I'd like to ask the council to approve a resolution next month in honor of Curtis Boone, who passed away, and his funeral was today. I'd like to present that resolution next month to the council to approve the wording on it, et cetera, but I think it'd be appropriate time to go ahead and vote to approve the resolution ahead of time.
I'll accept that as a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Council? We have a couple of announcements. Imagination Library raised over $4,000. This, or I should say, the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, through their 50-mile bike tour through Saline County, raised upwards of $4,000 for Imagination Library this past month. The Bryant Triathlon was a huge success thanks to all the city departments that helped with that, streets, parks, and public safety. They did a fantastic job. It was a great race. And coming up next month is the Kids Triathlon. And this past weekend, a lot of effort went into another very successful volleyball tournament. So all of you that contributed to that, thank you very much. Are there any other announcements that need to be made tonight? Okay. That will take us straight to departmental reports. The first one will be by Chief Jordan.
Good afternoon, Council. I'd like to take a second and let you know it's something that we have going on in the fire department. We have our very first Citizens Fire Academy, and you have some information there. I hope you've seen it out on social media and read some about it. It'll be open to 4 residents of each of your wards, so if you know someone who would be interested in that, we really are excited about this. It's our first one, and we hope to grow on it from here and just keep building on it. It's a way that we see to get our stakeholders, our customers that we serve, give them a better understanding of what we do, and also get some feedback from them on how we do it and things that we can improve on to better serve them. It's 10 weeks. It'll start August 4th. It'll be real exciting. It'll be Thursday evenings, and it'll culminate with a graduation and a meal. It's So if you know of anyone, we're really excited about it. Please spread the word about it. We want this to be an annual thing. We'll go over a lot of hands-on, so it won't be a lot of lecture. We're going to let them know about everything that has to do with the fire department, so they can not only see what they see when they see a fire truck going up and down the road to a fire or emergency call, but what goes on, and to get a chance to know the firefighters and us to know them. So we're excited about that. So please pass that along. Any of your people in your wards, give them this information, and if you need to, direct them to me, and I'll be glad to help them sign it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other departmental reports that we will not cover later in the meeting?
Did we have a report, if not this month, next month, on Boone Road, and just a brief report so we know kind of the progress, since it will be starting soon? I know we have plans for this.
Yes, I can give you some information on that. We have, we're expanding Boone Road very similar to what we did on Spring Hill Road last summer. Construction started as soon as school let out last week. The rain's holding us up a little bit right now, but as soon as that clears, then we'll continue to widen the shoulders and do a complete overlay Boone Road from Templewood area all the way down to almost to the park. So those improvements, safe improvements will be coming Boone Road this summer. And we'll continue to do updates on that throughout the summer. So you might avoid that area or come in from the west. If you're going to Fisher Park, it's better to go in from the west. Some days that road will be completely closed to construction.
They coming down through Woodland Park,
And on
Alcoa.
Woodland Park and Alcoa, and more specific information is available on the city Facebook pages and our website. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay. That brings us to public comments. I know a lot of people are here for public comments tonight. When you come up, please limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. If you go longer than 3 minutes, I would very kindly ask you to wrap it up pretty quickly. There's a lot of people here, but we do want to hear what you have to say. State your name and your address. And so now the floor is open for public comments.
Hi, my name is Zach McDonald. I live at 3502 Village Green Drive. That's in the Meadowlake Subdivision. What I'm talking about tonight is the PUD that has been proposed for a storage facility on that lake. A lot of the residents are concerned about it. The reason being, there's a lot of what ifs that they don't know. Property value could possibly go down. Crime could possibly go up. And not to mention just higher traffic volume. So I found out about this 3 weeks ago, and we kind of all come together in that time to learn more. I think it should go back to the planning commission and be relooked at. And the reason I do believe that is because I know they had a public hearing once and nobody showed up. And it's my understanding that nobody showed up because they thought that he was looking to expand his business, which there's no wrong in that. You know, I think every man should be able to make money. And expanding his business is not a problem. Him putting a mini storage unit there at the cost of possibly others losing property value, that is a problem. There's a lot of concerned people there, and I don't think they would want it. It's an eyesore. Even if it does go in, I think there should be limits on how it goes in. I don't think those RV should just be strung out and about. If he's going to allow that, it needs to be completely closed. We have no problem with him going and putting in houses because it's zoned residential now. I don't think he wants to do that. But it's something that everybody's against. You have a large turnout here that shows that. You know, y'all are the city council, and y'all are a voice for the people. I think if people sit here telling you they don't want that. I hope y'all listen. I hope y'all listen to all the other comments. Thank you for your time.
I'm sorry, Zach, where did you live?
3502 Village Green
Okay,
Drive.
great.
My property backs right up to it.
Okay.
I've lived there since 99.
All right, you probably said it, I just didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Thank you.
You know, there's a lot of what ifs that you could talk about. We can what if this all day long. You know, any of those things can happen, but you can take away all those what ifs by just not letting them go back. And all those go away. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Levy. I live at 3408 Village Green Drive. If you want to look on your map, that property directly backs up to my fence line right there. And after we got at one formal meeting and showed us what his plans were, that's when the storage building things got brought up, right before that. That's when our whole neighborhood came together, like Zach said. Before, we don't fault the man for wanting to expand his business. That was the only thing that was discussed, in our understanding. Once the word storage buildings and RVs came into the picture, red flags went everywhere. That being said, me personally, I don't want to look out in my backyard and see a 25, 30-foot RV storage building right there by my backyard. Never going to be able to sell my house if that happens. Crime, potentially, property values going down. Those are all what it's like, pollution. Everybody says they can control it. Every time I drive down the interstate, that's all I see is light pollution from these storage buildings. So anyway, like I said, Zach said it pretty good. You all listen. There's a lot of people here that are going to sit there and speak, I'm sure. But all these things, people are very highly emotional about at this point. And I'm just speaking for me, but you'll get the gist of it. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Council, Mayor. I'm Rayanne Fields with the Bryant Chamber of Commerce. I have said before, and I want to say again, I thank you for your service to the city, each and every one of you, giving of your time and your effort and your service. And I want to say, in addition to that, that I'm very proud of this council and how you work together. And that I'm here to ask for your support for a route south from Raymond. Thank you. I think that was the point of my saying it. Yes, it's been asked many times, and I know you've listened, so I wanted to say it one more time for the record. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Joanna Ketchum, and I live at 3312 Village Green Drive. And I've made notes so I don't forget what I want to say, so I'm just gonna look at them. I do want to thank y'all for the time to speak tonight and from hearing from us as the neighbors that backed up to the property on Raymar potentially being rezoned for PUD. I'd like to echo Zach and Kevin to say that all of the neighbors have spoken, at least that back directly up, that live on Village Green, who it's going to immediately affect, and we are all opposed to the PUD. Again, we feel like we were deceived. The first reading that came out, we got the certified mail piece that said this was going to be rezoned. We were told it would be an expansion of his current business, which his current business sends business out. It does not bring business in. So nobody was opposed to him doing that. And that's why we're all here tonight, because we got the second information that says it's going to be something completely different, something that brings people in, something that brings increased traffic, something that will potentially increase crime. If you look at statistics, they do show that crime does increase around any public space, but especially things that are not manned all the time, where there's going to be buildings people can go behind, people can break in them, it's going to block view. So if people want to come in behind that property and sneak onto the back of property where there is gates that open up to that property, they can come on in and no one's going to see them anymore visibly, because those buildings are going to block that line of sight. I'm going to look back at my notes. We know that y'all had one reading on this, that y'all have heard this once. We know that there are tonight and at least one more reading, and we ask that y'all be open-minded and listen to the thoughts and concerns of the neighbors that surround that property. We're not, again, opposed to him making money on the property. We understand that he bought that property to make money, but it was zoned residential. And when we bought our property, I just moved in 2 years ago from Little Rock, and I'm trying to get my friends to move out here, and that's not something that I'm going to encourage if our voice is not heard. If there's no point in us being here and speaking and the decision is already made, which is the understanding some of us feel, that would discourage me from encouraging people to move to Bryant. There, again, it shows research shows a substantial and marketable decline in property value, and the comps, the trickle-down effect. It might not affect the rest of the neighborhood right now, but if we have to drop our property value to sell our home because there's commercial property behind us, might not be immediate, but if you're looking at 2 homes, and you've got it narrowed down to 2 homes that you like, and one has commercial property behind it, and one has a neighbor behind it, you're more likely going to purchase the one with the neighbor behind it. And then we're gonna have to drop the price of our home in order to get people to move in. And then when they do comps, on the next property, it's gonna go, okay, I know that I'm out, but increased traffic, increased crime, lighting, noise, and line of sight. So thank y'all for hearing from us.
My name is Judy Davidson, and I live at 3504 Meadowlake Drive in Bryant. Moved there in 1995, and it was a residential neighborhood. I always thought it would be. All we had to worry about, the worst thing was the deer might come over into our backyard. And now one of the most beautiful pieces of land, they're talking about putting a storage unit in. And I think we're all against that. And not just for the reasons that some people say. If you've ever tried to get on Raymore Road from either direction, it's a hazard. There's not a lot of room to turn in and out of Raymore Road. And I just wonder what difference it's going to make when you put in a storage unit and how much more big, heavy equipment's going to be pulled in there, how much harder it's going to be to get in and out on either end. I just see more and more problems with this happening, and I'm kind of like everybody else. I feel like we've been deceived about this. What we thought was, it's not what we find out it's going to be. So, most definitely opposed. Thank you.
Public comments tonight.
Mr. Jones, I bought 3505 Meadowlake Drive in 1997, expecting to live out my life there and entertain my children and my grandchildren and now my great-grandchild. I feel like there are quite a few retirees and also young people with little kids who live around there, and I would like for it to stay residential. I personally don't want additional traffic and lighting, and we haven't had a lot of crime in our neighborhood that I know about, and I like it that way.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wendy Jones, and I'm a resident of Meadowlake. I've taken this very, very to heart. I'm a retired real estate agent, and I know that when you put a storage building units in a residential area, it's going to bring your property value down. That bothers me. I brought my sister to move into Meadowlake. I've got a couple of friends that's looking now that wants to move to Meadowlake. If this happens, that's not going to happen. So I'm very concerned about this. Not only am I concerned about it, if it happens, if you go to Dearborn in Millbrook and look at the storage building over there, it looks nice when you pull in. But if you go around to the back of it, it's an eyesore. It's trashy. So who controls that? Does the city council tell them to clean that mess up? So if it happens, who's going to take care of it? It's nasty. So that concerns me. And so property value, the safety, crime, all those things that everybody has said tonight. I echo that, and I hope you take that in consideration. Thank you.
Ms. Jones, I just have a question, if you don't mind, maybe one of the others can answer. Everyone has pretty much gotten up and stated that they found out later that the storage buildings were coming in. I go to most of the DRC meetings, and I'm just asking for my own knowledge.
Okay.
Did y'all find out about that after the public hearing? Did they change it after that?
Yes.
Before?
Yeah.
Is it after?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you.
doing that.
I've got a question. of our legal
Oh,
counsel.
me?
No, ma'am, you're good. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Within a public notice of that nature, does the petitioner have to state what they want to put on that property when it's rezoned?
I honestly don't know the requirements of that. There's case law on it. That would be something that we fax certificate and something I would have to look at case law. I can't give you an answer sitting here today. Oh, it's good, but that's one of those things that's, you gotta look at what's in it, what's required, so I have to look at statutory law as well as case law.
Okay.
The initial notice that went out was for commercial rezoning. It wasn't for community, so it could have been anything that went
So
on
when
there.
it was commercial rezone, it could have been a liquor store
That's
or a McDonald's or anything.
Or a dog kennel.
Or what?
Or a dog kennel.
It could have been anything.
Yeah.
If you have a public comment, you'll need to step up and not come.
We understand when it was potentially rezoned initially, it was commercial, and we weren't told what that was, but we, as trying to be neighborly, asked him what he was doing with it. So that that's the reason we didn't come, because we spoke with him. He said he was just wanting to expand his current business. And nobody had a problem with that. If we knew what he was really going to do with it, we would have been here at the last meeting. We were not being confrontational, or not, that's not the right word, but I mean, we were not opposed to it because he wasn't doing anything that was going to decrease our property value or bring traffic and all the stuff that we said earlier. So that's why we weren't here before.
It's one thing we may want to look at moving forward, because when they present that, the hearing is for the rezoning. And when they do that, they present their idea of proposal of what's going to go on that property. Now, once it's past that meeting, the guy can keep coming back to the DRC and keep changing it. But that never goes back to the people. And I think that's something that we may need to look at ourselves in our structure.
The reason he actually pulled his commercial, we had an informal meeting with him, Mayor Adams was there, several other people were there. He actually pulled his own commercial after it hit social media, and you know what that is. We have our own neighborhood app, and in that neighborhood app, it was kept in the confines of our neighborhood. Nobody in Lexington Park knew about it, nobody Stony Brook or anybody else knew about this. Once it hit the neighborhood app, and all of a sudden it started going out to Saline County and other people started finding about this, he got the word from North Little Rock, is our understanding, is that a buddy friend of his called him and said, your neighbor's ready to hang you, and my understanding is he came and pulled his commercial. We appreciate that. But in replace of that, he put in his proposal for this PUD. And in that PUD, you have to define exactly what you want there.
Correct.
And when he did that, he not only added his storage buildings, but he added what you're talking about of the, not for his existing building, but he added the storage buildings. And the storage buildings is what lit the match, that lit the gasoline, that blew everything up. Because you went from him expanding his business, also him expanding his business to storage buildings, and not just storage buildings, but RV storage buildings, boat storage buildings. We're not talking about small, low profile. We're talking about very large RV storage buildings that are sitting in my backyard. This is me personally. This is everybody that lives on that street. But this is the far, you want to go west end of that corner right there, that property right there, that affects every single person on that side, all the way up 50 feet that way, 50 feet the other way.
So you got a certified letter for the commercial.
And that's the only one we got.
You didn't get one for changing.
Never got the
PUD.
second one.
I got a second one.
I didn't get the second one.
I got a second one.
Forward if they didn't get a PUD.
So anyway, once he, like you said, once he gets us approved for PUD, which is still commercial, I don't care what you say, he can come back and edit that at any point.
Well, you
And
actually built a lot of stuff on it.
you understand what I'm saying? He can come back and keep coming back and keep coming back. So the moment this gets changed to residential, it's opened up to, we're gonna be here every week, every month, and we just ask. let's keep it the same. He bought it residential, let's keep it residential.
At the last meeting, we talked about a setback of 50 feet. Is that still set for 50 feet, or did that change?
Still 25.
I thought we discussed 50 foot.
The site plan that has been submitted has 50 feet on all property sides. So a 50-foot front setback, a 50-foot side setback, a 50-foot rear building setback, and a 50-foot side setback.
That's not what I understood today, so.
That's not what was in our packet still says 25.
That was, I don't know if that packet got updated, because that was the packet that was applied. They submitted a revised one.
This is a revision that's April 27th.
Mayor, if I'm sorry, Jerry.
What was your name, sir?
James Walden.
I would like, due to,
We're still in public
Yeah,
comment.
we're still in public comments right now. Are there any other,
I've got something I want James to do. That, please, that area in the pink,
Yes,
what is that zone?
that is on C2,
What could go there?
liquor store. And it
Liquor
really
stores are
anytime-
popular tonight.
That came up.
Any commercial business though, right?
Yeah, that,
Can you
you
show
can have a
me-
big box store.
Can you show me on that map, if you don't mind walking over there?
Sure.
Where the proposed south route would go?
So this is the, better lack of term, the Raymar overpass right here. South route would go directly south from there, basically parallel to this property line.
I'm just asking for my clarification. So it wouldn't go over by that neighborhood?
No.
Okay.
So it's likely, this land is currently being used for a different purpose, but.
That's where the ball
it's
fields,
likely-
that's where the ball fields are.
soccer fields by Garris Bryant.
Would you show everybody where the land is that we're talking about,
The
please?
property, the subject property in question is this property right here.
That is correct.
Directly on the south side of Raymar.
is there anybody that would like to make public comments that has not already made public comments tonight?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Carolyn Fowler. I live at 3413 Village Green Drive. I don't think there's really anything that I can say that hasn't already been said, except that there's a lot of leases here. I have neighbors who could not be here tonight, who are in opposition. And I would just hate to see so many properties affected compared to one property affected. Thank you.
My name is Molly Devereaux, and I live on Greenleaf Drive. And I bought my home 14 years ago, and this is my forever home. I've put so much time and money into my landscaping. I put in new countertops. The rooms are designer painted by me. And I would never have bought that home if I had known that there was going to be storage units. If there had been storage units when I bought the home, I would have just passed them by. My realtor gave up on me because I was so picky. I didn't want anything like that around my neighborhood. He told me just drive around, here's a list of addresses, look at them, and if you want to see the inside, because mostly we drive up and you say no, keep going. So I would never have bought that home. And I love it, and I don't ever want to move, but I don't like storage units because I've looked at them online, and even the best of them are eyesores. Thank you.
I just want to add, I believe, Mr. Wade Perimeter, you have this. There's a signature, a petition that was circulated that my sister and I walked around, and several other that's here from Meadowlake, and we went around and got signatures. Of course, we had to do this last minute. It's Memorial Day. A lot of people wasn't at home. There was a lot of people representing because I didn't recognize them. But if you would bring that petition up, and I think there's probably, I don't know, 50 signatures on it.
Yes, ma'am, I passed it down.
Got it?
I did not sign it, but I would like to.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Y'all can both step up.
I'm Lilith Jones, and I just recently purchased 3508 Meadowlake Drive. And I've always thought so highly of the neighborhood. That's why I bought the property right across the street from my mom. And I thought it was going to be a residential area, and I would appreciate it if it would stay all residential. Thank you.
Angela Rachel's 3502 Village Green. There's no way to guarantee anything with it. There's no way to guarantee our safety. There's no way to guarantee that it's not going to be a light issue and guarantee safety at the same time. You can't do that. Mr. Hunter's proposed hours are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. In the winter, that's dark. That means 25 feet from residents' backyards, you're going to have strange people walking around. You're going to have RVs and boats coming in. Raymar Fields is down the street. There are children there. There are tons of children in our neighborhood. All it takes is for that one time for someone to speed through our neighborhood, run over a child. All it takes is for that one person going into the mini storage to see a crime of opportunity with a tree line in the dark to break into our homes and for it to escalate into a more violent crime. There are just too many unanswered questions. Nothing on the PUD states any of these answers to us as neighborhoods, even if it were to go through. Hours, lighting, the height of the RV and the boat building. That thing is going to have to be massive. It's going to be an eyesore. It's going to be so ugly. Please just keep our neighborhoods safe and our communities pretty. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Brett Hunter. I'm the owner of 2219 Raymar. Came here tonight to try to push for this PUD, to utilize the property that I have in a manner which right now is the Rangers for spout levels. I never intended for this to be such a contentious project. I really felt like that this would have been something that the community would have accepted. Let me just cut to the chase. I'm pulling the PUD. I'm not going to go through it. I hope the rest of the gallery doesn't mind. I do want to just kind of clear my name a little bit on this. At first,
Would you like to talk to them or us?
well, yeah, actually, if that's okay. Back in.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to see some of you guys that were able to come to my property back about 2 weeks ago. I got to listen to quite a bit of comments and some great ideas and some things that I wanted to consider. I'm a fellow neighbor. You know, I'm not in this to be the most hated man on Raymar. I get what you're saying. I do. I drive through the neighborhood and I saw what I thought was more of an eyesore than the buildings were. You know, there are boats, there are RVs, there are, you know, and I'm not going to name names, but there are instances where RVs have come across my property because there aren't any accessible storage areas. that was actually one of the things that made me think of putting in a storage area, was the fact that the young man that mows my yard comes in my office one day and says, hey, there's ruts out here. Well, there's no ruts out there. Nobody drives out there. I go out there and I look, and there are ruts. And there are traffic marks from people using my property out of their backyards. Without permission, but I didn't get mad about it. I actually felt bad that, there were people that wanted to own a camper for their families, a boat for their families, didn't have anywhere to store it. We're talking about relatively small parcels of land, and it's hard to have starter homes and have these things and be able to store them. What the original intent was, my business has grown. I'm out of space. I went from 3 employees in our office to 7. We're going to have 9 soon, and I wanted to build a new office. And so immediately I contacted the council and said, I want to build a new office. I'm zoned residential. What do I do? And so you need to get rezoned as commercial. So I did. I tried. 3 or 4 weeks roll by and everything's going fine. Out of the blue, I get a phone call from a gentleman in North Little Rock. Kevin nailed the story. It was completely accurate. I get a phone call, not from a neighbor, never was contacted by a neighbor, not once. It was from a gentleman who's a friend of a friend of a friend. And there was a lot of concern about why I wanted to be commercial. We were going to build a liquor store. We're going to build an Easy Mart, or what are we going to do? And I said, whoa, that's not my intention. I want to build an office. So I called Mr. Boland and asked him, I said, what can we do? I said, we need to pull our commercial because I don't want this to happen. Even if I sell the property, I wouldn't want the next guy doing this to the community. And he said, well, there are PUDs. And I spoke with council members. Yeah, PUD is probably the best way to go because it's specific. You have to put down what you want to do. So I put a PUD in for the office, and during that time, I said, well, is there anything else you want to do on this property in the next few years? I said, well, I've got 2 acres out here. The grass grows, I mow it, I write a check, and that's all I do. I pay taxes on it. It doesn't do me any good. It's more land than I need. I said, we have a storage facility problem. We have, not a facility problem, it's bad. We have there's a problem in that area where people have things that are parked out on the road. I've got examples here of boats, trucks, campers, trailers, 30-foot gooseneck trailers parked in between houses. It's an eyesore. You guys are concerned about localizing all the storage, in which I had every intention of green spacing it, brick, making it as high class as you can make it, not making it, there was a comment about a 25-foot tall camper and all this stuff. There's no such thing. The building I have on the property right now is 4 foot taller than anything I was going to build. What I'm going to do, I did not understand that this was going to be such a community team building exercise that wouldn't be quite in my favor. But I'm not heartless. I'm not. The dollar isn't the end-all, be-all driving factor for me. I'd rather have you guys do what you've already done, which is come across the fence and help me put out a fire when I wasn't there, rather than stand on your side of the fence and hope the wind blows. It's a little hotter, So I'm all for being a good neighbor. Always have been, always intend to be. I will say that everyone in this room knows that right across the road is 200 acres of C2, and it's right there in pink. It won't be that way. It's not going to be trees forever. And 5 years from now, when there's something there, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen to our neighborhood? The traffic on a mini storage building, it's not accurate to think that I was going to drive traffic up on Raymar. I wasn't. If I put 8 homes on that property, there's 30 extra cars a day. That's 60 vehicles out and in each day. You're not going to see that kind of traffic increase out of a mini storage building. Property values, for every boat you get off the neighbor's lawn or every garage you clean out and get that car off the street and in the garage, you're beautifying your own neighborhood. So, if we could localize it to one area, fence it in, you're going to make your area look better. So I don't agree with the property value assessment either. privacy. You know, I know there's a lot of concern about what this would have done to privacy. I mean, the fact of the matter is, these are 75 by 150 lots with fences on 3 sides already. There's not a lot of privacy when you have all of these little cutouts for homes as it is. It's not, I wasn't trying to go into the middle of a 5-acre tract of land where one home was on and put it right beside you. There wasn't anything done deceitful. I stand by that 100%. It was all done according to the letter of the law. I hired a civil engineer. He worked well with us to go through the process. The first contact, I think one young lady made a comment that I was contacted, and I told somebody that I was only going to do an office, and then later on I did a switcheroo. That's not accurate. The first contact I had with anybody in my neighborhood was May 19th at 6 p.m. face-to-face. Before that, it was through a networking site called nextdoor.com, which I would like to just on the record state is the devil incarnate. You know, I've watched you guys go through that website and just attack each other. You know, get outside and shake a hand, talk to somebody, get off your.
We just had a block party on Sunday.
Sir?
We just had a block party on Sunday.
I'm glad. I'm glad. And y'all need to get together and delete that app. Because, you know, it's just, you can communicate with that app, but you can't conversate. You can tell everybody about the guy that got, I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, I will, sorry.
We don't have any offerings last month.
Okay. I apologize for what this has done. If nothing else, I got to know a lot of people from the community. I hope I haven't made any enemies out of this deal. I'm not looking to do that. I don't want to take away from this neighborhood as much as you guys do. I got to find a way to turn excess property into something besides a complete outflow. It may not happen this year, maybe 5 years from now, but you know, we'll communicate, and we'll try something different, maybe something that builds you guys more and that I can live with as well. So, thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make one comment. I tell you, this is the proudest I've ever been in my community, is tonight. To see a businessman come in here and listen to the people around him and have the courage to do what he did.
Yes,
and I commend him for it.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully y'all can,
Item number 1 from the agenda is all business, and we'll move on to new business now to item number 1. This is a resolution authorizing myself to execute documents with the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality and authorizing the expenditure of $4,500 to civil penalties to ADQ and for other purposes.
This indicates the era.
It would be an ongoing issue, it's just that it's a growth issue that
Real quickly, if you'll remember, several years ago, we were under a consent order with ADQ because of SSO, sewer system overflows. We got out from underneath that for a period of time, but we had some more issues with this as part of the growing infrastructure issues. We actually had 3 violations. We negotiated 2 of them away, so we're only under 1 violation. We negotiated the fines down from what they were originally seeking, $4,500. And we're developing an engineering plan to remediate these issues moving forward. This will be, I do have an obvious to say that this will be probably a 5 to 10-year ongoing project for future capital investment. These are all things we need to do anyway, but we'll have the opportunity to do them under the consent order. This protects us so that if we have violations going forward, we can say we're working on them under the consent order. That protects us from EPA enforcement and from civil private enforcement action. So basically, we're on probation with ADQ under this, but it gives us a lot of flexibility in dealing with issues because we're making steady progress. Myself, Mark, and Greg Asher, and the engineering, Chris engineers, we've been working involved in this for about 4 months.
motion approved. Second.
All in favor, say aye to approve resolution 2016-12.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passed. Item number 2 is another resolution. This is authorizing the City of Bryant Water and Wastewater Department to provide services outside the city limits of Bryant. Mark, can you speak to this?
That's Highland Village, it's 25 residential units. Everything's been tested and approved, and we've got a warranty bond on it.
And something else we're doing with this, which is interesting, is not part of this process was also talking about future detention basin issues, and we're working with some new ways of how we're going to take care of detention basins in the future and making the POAs responsible for that. And part of the checking on it is to make sure that the POA documents, the assurances, lay out specifically how that's funded. Do what?
When will this become annexed into
This is just a pre-annexation agreement and to provide water services because they're currently outside of the city. If we ever move to the point where we're contiguous with them, I don't believe we are. I don't think so. I think there's a space between us and them at this point. But this is one of those areas we want to provide sewer services.
So this would be like immediate if we
Yeah, if we get to the point where
to this property.
where our city limits are next to this property, and we decide we want to annex it, we just say we want to annex you, and then it's already.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor to approve resolution 2016-13? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passed. Next, that's resolution 13. Next is an ordinance. This is an ordinance to rename Echo Lake Boulevard and Raymar Road Overpass and to name the unbuilt roadway from Interstate 30 to its intersection with Highway 183 and shall be named Bryant Parkway within the corporate city limits. Do I have a motion to put on first, second, and third reading by title only?
Motion to put on my first, second, and third time reading.
Second.
So motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can I go ahead and read this, because I believe the agenda has the incorrect title
Please
for
read
it.
it, Chris. Thank you.
An ordinance to rename Echo Lake Boulevard and Raymar Road Overpass and to name an unbuilt roadway from Interstate 30 to its intersection with Highway 183 and shall be named Bryant Parkway within the corporate limits of the city of Bryant, Arkansas, providing for the repeal of all ordinances in conflict and providing for a severability clause.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
This will be a roll call vote.
Billingsley,
Yes.
Chandler,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Burnell,
Yes.
Higginbotham,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Unanimously approved. From this day forward, we shall call this road Bryant Parkway from Highway 5 to its future destination connecting to Highway 183. Thank you, Council. 2016-7. Next is a resolution authorizing myself to execute a CAO.
Joy's turn.
Joy's turn. Item number 4.
Okay, I've got a few comments I'd like to read into the record before we go any further. I'd just like to point out on page 2, I highlighted the item 237-014 because that was putting the 574 back that we had sent to the state once we received the bond money. Page 2 in the far right column, I did not update the annual budget column. This will be corrected in next month's report. There are no budget adjustments are being brought this month. And also please note that there was a question last month on the total effect of the budget adjustments to the general fund. It was corrected, listed as on the agenda center documents at the total increase to expenses of approximately the $52K. Page 3, the 1979075 is still a decision on my part not to fund 510 in order to use that fund balance in that fund. If anybody has any questions on that, just let me know. And then budget adjustments are being collected each month and will be brought to you. The plan is to bring them in August at the August council meeting, right before we start the budget process in September for 2017. Also, I'd just like to note that slow progress, albeit slow, is continuing to be made on the 2013, 2014, and 2015 water and wastewater audits. The 2015 general and street fund audits have already been started with Jordan Loosely Cronin.
Does anybody have any questions on the report? Okay.
I have a motion to approve the current budget up through 2016.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is an ordinance calling for a special election in the city of Bryant. Ask Paul or Leanne to come up, and then Brian to ask questions for that. We have a whole team back there.
Everybody on that roll.
So just to tell those that are here in the audience with us now, the city council, the chamber of commerce, business leaders have been working to devise a plan, a go-forward plan for funding some very important infrastructure costs for the city. This is relating to parks, streets, and fire. So, Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The ordinance that you have before you, again, calls an election for August the 9th here in the city of Bryant on the question of issuing bonds for four different purposes. You'll notice that section 2, actually section 3 of the ordinance, starting on page 3, are the four ballot questions. The first question, refunding bonds, refunding series 2006 and 2007 bonds secured by an existing half-cent sales tax. The second question, bonds for park and recreational improvements. The third question, bonds for fire improvements. And the fourth question, bonds for street improvements. Again, this will not cause an increase in your sales tax rate here in the city. There's currently a half-cent sales tax pledged to bonds that were again issued in 2006 and 2007. Assuming that the voters approve the refunding of those bonds, then you will issue additional bonds for the refunding bonds plus any additional improvements that are approved by the voters on August 9th. So again, no increase in your sales tax rate, even if all four bond questions are approved. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Of course, your investment banking team is here as well to answer any questions that you have about financial information.
Ryan, if all four of these proposed issues are approved by the voters, how many months is estimated that will extend this half-cent sales tax?
I will refer to the bankers.
Approximately.
The way it's structured now is in 2015, the receipts that the city received from the collections of half a cent, roughly $2,080,000. If that number stays the same, which it's already grown some if you just took the past trailing 12 months, so we'd expect it to grow. But just assume for a moment that it stays the same as in 2015. The bonds would pay off in 2034, estimated payoff there, based on current market rates per year.
Yeah, currently to pay off when?
If you did absolutely nothing, the bonds would pay off, we'd estimate in 2019. Now, the original structure of the bonds, at that time, the tax receipts were estimated to be a little bit over $1.3 million. Obviously, as I just told you, they're now $2.08 million. Now, you backtrack a decade ago to that $1.3 million number, the estimated payoff of the debt in the 2006 and 2007 bonds were issued was 2031. So as a result of that growth in taxes, 2031 has now become 2019.
In other words, you're paying off the mortgage in that time.
Correct.
So 2034 is the stretch,
Correct.
but it would be less than that, as our track record has shown.
If you continue to grow, it'd be less.
I know we talked about this in the workshop, but if the voters don't approve all, because what I recall, it's a checklist, if you would, you have to approve number one to refinance the bonds.
They have to approve the refunding or nothing is done because, again, you don't want a sales tax increase. And in order for there not to be a sales tax increase, they have to approve the refunding.
And then there's a la carte list of 3 different projects within there. So obviously, we want all 3 of them approved. But in the instance that 1 or 2 of them are approved, is it just the funding for the projects that are approved that are refinanced? Or is it the entire fund that's within the thing?
If just the refunding were approved and nothing else, then you could look at refunding 2006 and 7 bonds if that made economic sense. If the refunding is approved in any one of the other 3, then you would do the refunding plus the other projects that are approved, whether that's park only, fire only, street only, or any combination of those 3. Obviously, if all 4 questions are not approved, then the tax would go off earlier because you're not issuing as many bonds. So, but to accomplish what you want as a council, you need to also questions.
And just to clarify though, I'm sorry, I'm a simple country guy. If the first one, if they, voters approve number one, yes, we want to do this, but then they go, no, we just want to do this one thing. So how does that work?
The one thing being parks, let's say.
Whatever.
Okay, then you would do a bond issue to refund Series 2006 and Series 2007 and do the bond issue for parks.
X amount of dollars that were allocated.
Correct. That's the maximum principal amount of, again, you're authorizing in the ballot up to $4.5 million for parks, up to $5.5 million for fire, and up to $15,700,000.
And if those funds were voted by approved by the voters for those specific areas, the funds have to be utilized for those areas.
Absolutely.
They can't be moved to a general fund or anything else.
And to improve their streets, it has to be for streets.
The net, they're allowing for the taxes or the cost of issuing the bonds and all, it's gonna be $4 million, $5 million, and $14 million, is that correct? Basically, in that ballpark.
Well, for actual use.
Correct.
Yeah, the parks would be $4 million for
Right.
construction, $5 for the
Fire.
fire, 14.5.
Okay.
And I would like to add, off your comment, the information that I stated regarding the estimated payoffs should these bonds be approved is based on everything being
Right,
approved.
that's what I'd ask. Yes.
Any other discussion? Council, is there a motion to put on first, second, third reading by title only?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance calling a special election in the city of Bryant, Arkansas on the questions of issuing bonds under amendment number 62 to the Constitution of the state of Arkansas for the purpose of financing and refinancing all or portions of the cost of capital improvement. 1.5% sales and use tax for the sole purpose of retiring such bonds and prescribing other matters pertaining to thereto.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
This will be a roll call vote.
Billingsley,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Gladden,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Higginbotham,
Yes.
Cordell.
Yes.
Yes.
Unanimously, ordinance 2016-8 is approved by the city council.
But does this need an emergency clause because of the 60 days? You're okay?
Yes. And the ordinance does have to be filed with the county clerk, that'll be filed, obviously, that'll be filed tomorrow, so you got a 60-day requirement between filing with the county clerk and the day of the election.
Sure you don't want to buy a house,
Elections always not.
Community effort, I can tell.
Any other questions for Ryan? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, one more. This is a resolution regarding the street improvements and establishing priorities for the issue of the bond. This basically establishes council's intent beyond what we can state in the ordinance.
Can you make a statement of what this is going to be so the public knows?
What this intends to do is state your intention of using the street improvement bonds to finance the Bryant Parkway project, as is referred to in the resolution. That's to extend Bryant Parkway, which you just renamed that road from the south side of Interstate 30 to Highway 183. In the event that the city applies for and is granted grant funds from the U.S. Department of Transportation, then it is your intention to use the money that is left over, the bond proceeds that aren't used for the Bryant Parkway project, to do the various street projects that are listed there in section 2 of this resolution. So that's only your intent to use it for those other streets if you have money that's available from the bond issue because you are awarded that grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation. So it lists a priority, but obviously your first priority is to accomplish the south route from I-32 highway lane. That,
So if that project needed to be 16 million, it would come out of the Tiger grant first to fulfill that need.
that project will be completed first and foremost. And so to the extent there are other monies left over, either because you got a Tiger grant or you have bond money left over, then you will use it in the priority listed in section 2. You're granting it in a priority, but you're not guaranteeing anyone in the community that those 3 projects will be funded. That's only to the extent you have available money for those projects.
Move for approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So this will be resolution 2016-14.
And the ordinance number was 2016-14.
Oh, the ordinance was 8, 2016-8. The ordinance resolution is 2016-14. You've already got the sign made. What a surprise.
How'd you do that so fast? This is the city you're talking about.
Okay, so any other questions for Ryan? Ryan, any other direction for us?
I'll be working with the city on the ballot information as well as notices and proclamations that will be published prior to the August 9th. Thank you again for y'all for your work. Thank you.
I have one question. We were talking at the public meeting about, we kept picking around the August date. If it's there an election that does.
August 9th.
It's an election that we don't do, it doesn't count as a statewide election.
It is a special election.
It's a municipal partisan election, and that doesn't count for this.
There is no other election.
But it's still gonna be August the 9th, special the election.
Election on the early voting. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. This is item number 7. This is a request from Chief Jordan to list 2 vehicles on govdeals.gov.com. This is a part of our planned budget for this year. This is just a required motion by council.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is on human resources.
See ya.
Charlotte is on maternity leave until September, so we'll do your probation on her. This is an adoption to amend the payroll policy, changing the measurement time period for payroll to Monday starting July 18th, 2016. Council, this is very important in order to give us some cushion in the payroll department. If something happened, we had a glitch in technology, bank had a glitch, or we had an ice storm or something like that, we couldn't have any buffer for the payroll line. It's just a new miracle that we haven't had an issue with this in the past. So we really want to commend the HR department. They've worked very hard to make this transition smooth for the employees. And nobody will lose any pay through this process. They'll just be adjustments as we move forward. We've chosen the month of July to do this because the month of July has 3 pay periods in it as opposed to 2, to lessen the impact also for the employees.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 9 is a resolution regarding an updated position description and compensation plan for the city of Bryant.
I put the wrong job description for the aquatics coordinator in the packet last month. This is the correct job description.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 10 is a resolution adopting the look-back measurement method under the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. This is something that's required of us with the new ACA policy going into effect. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We don't have the option on this, right?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That'll be resolution 2016-16. Next, the Parks Department, this is approval of the alcohol policy for the City of Bryant Parks Department.
Let me kind of explain where we're going with this. We won't have the option of putting on large events or doing citywide stuff. That's really not our primary focus at parks. Where we think we're going to do our best is small private parties. So if you'll notice, that's why the contractors with the off-premises catering permit, we're going to have a list of vendors. Basically, if you want to have a whatever in the parks, we're going to give you a list of approved vendors. You deal with them. Our people don't touch it. We get a certain percentage. Okay, that's kind of the direction we want to go. I do want to note that Butch pointed this out. I think we need to strike number 3 because it leaves too much room for the potential of someone leaving a room. On number 4, it says you can't leave there, leave the room, or leave the location with any alcohol. 3 kind of leaves it open, and Butch pointed that out to me. I think he's right. Yeah, we need to strike the number 3 here under general.
No, it just says they may have the opportunity to leave the room with their alcoholic beverage. And what for? Where are they gonna go?
Well, they're gonna store it there overnight too.
That's if we can, this gives us 3 options. We can get a year-long permit and we store it and we sell it. Or we can just get, or we can do 2, we can do a festival permit just for some time to have it. So it gives us that option, but that's really not what we're going to pursue. Mainly, we're going to pursue having these vendors and they take care of everything and we just get a percentage. Does that make sense? It gives us the opportunity to
Have you made this where it's secure and locked up and all that?
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't change anything, what you're asking for, it actually protects them.
Right. It gets dicey when you're talking about parks employees and we're talking about parks storing alcohol. That's really not what we want to do. We want to have that option if we want to throw a festival. Mainly, we want to open the door for these vendors approved by us that handle everything, and we just get a percentage of what they sell. So we make a profit, but we don't handle it at all. Does that make sense?
So we're not, the city of Bryant is not storing any alcohol on city premises?
We could if we applied for these permits. This gives us the freedom to do that, but right now we do not have a permit.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, let's say for instance, we end up with an amphitheater on one part of town and we have big time music festivals coming through Bryant and Parks runs those. That, down the road we could do stuff like that.
Down the road we could change the ordinance.
That's true. But this just gives us the freedom to apply for those licenses. We don't have any right now. This just gives us the ability.
Something like that?
Sorry?
Where would you hold something like that right now?
Oh, just in our locked up storage where we put food and
Host an event,
yeah,
like the very back.
Yeah, I mean, there was one event, but we didn't get the license. It was another, the group that put the event on had the license.
I'm not trying to shoot you down.
It's number, Rob, it's number 2, that ordered alcohol will be stored 1 day prior to the event.
So if we applied for the license and got it, okay, we would only have it the day before. And we wouldn't, as soon as it's over, and the people that, if they buy it from the city, if we have the license, at the end of that event, they take, they paid for it. Like, somebody wanted to put on a
Starlight Gala.
Starlight Gala, anybody that.
Barbecue contest.
Yeah,
Barbecue contest.
can I add to that too? With the barbecue contest, what happened was Ray Ann had to personally go out for that permit. So this allows us to facilitate that.
I'm just worried about having it there 1 day early and having to secure it somewhere for a day for the event the next day overnight.
Yeah, we would have security, but remember, that's if we applied for the license. Right now, we don't have a license. So the only way to sell.
That's what's on this, that you're to approve.
You're approving us the ability to apply for the license. 2 kinds of license. One's a year-long, one's a festival, which is just a short event.
But it has in there that you can store the alcohol 1 day prior to the event.
But we can't do that right now because we don't have a license.
Okay.
And this will change, we had some parks with no alcohol, correct? This doesn't affect that at all? There couldn't be a festival in that park?
No, sir.
Okay. Right.
I want to speak to the story the other day ahead. What happened with the barbecue is, in order to get them in and set up, we had to bring that cart in, which was a self-contained trailer that locked. Because you have to bring in your barbecuers in, and you'll block the way if you don't set it up where you can get your grills. But that thing was locked and kept overnight, so. I mean, I don't know if that's what we intended with that number 2, but your setup may require you to let something come in that would be what you serve the alcohol
It
off
would
of.
seem like that we need to have the contractor responsible for it being locked, like you said.
It was that way.
Instead of the city being responsible to take care of this locked up somewhere. Also, it should be both or something.
Well, if we have the license, we're responsible for it, but our goal is to do exactly what you're saying. Our goal is to have private contractors handling all of this stuff, and we just get a percentage. That's where we want, that's where we're headed. But this does give us the freedom. If the Parks Department if we came to the point where we wanted to have our own license, you would be okay with that. It gives us the opportunity to do that. Right now, we have not applied for a license. If we apply for any kind of license this year, it would be the festival license, which is just for that one event. Does that make sense?
Chris, are you concerned about any liabilities from the wording in this? I'm assuming you wrote it.
I have been involved in writing it. I'm not worried about it. As far as like the locking stuff, we lock guns up, we lock drugs up at the police department, we lock chemicals up at Parks Department, we lock things up. And as far as Ryan said, yes, you have to have the day before so you can have your bring-in set up. If your event starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to deliver it that morning. You're going to have it the night before. Talk with Chris about it. What this does is creates flexibility so that we can try and identify that market of events that are too small for like a convention center, but too big for your local family little event place. So this kind of lets us do that. Gives us the flexibility if we decide to go down the road, if we get enough interest to get the facilities permit, the year-long ones. We start out with some festival permits, try those, go talk to you guys about it. But our main goal is to have a off-premises caterer, because then it's on them. We have a list, somebody comes in and says, I don't use your facilities. We go, here's the people you can call. But we want to go ahead and lay the groundwork so that we can start moving through those processes moving forward. But I'm comfortable with liability.
I guess my question is, do you have a place that you can lock up what you need for a festival? Just like Brandon was talking about for Spark. You got that and it's secure and it's, you're okay now, or?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll be able to chill it.
I still have a question on general, on number 8. It says each person will be served a maximum of 2 drinks per visit to the bar. That just, I can see that. How are we gonna monitor that? That health for police.
That's done pretty much, that's standard language for every convention center I've ever looked at. And what happens is the bartender, who's a contracted person, responsible through this.
Out of 600 people, you don't think you're gonna remember all
No,
that guy.
it is when they come up there.
At one time.
You got 2 p.m.
All right.
You can't walk away with 6.
6, all right, I got you. I'm not a drinker, so I gotta ask.
Or
all
like
right?
they did at an event I attended there, they gave you 2 tickets.
I almost my Dr. Pepper, I'm done.
Okay, are you going to strike number 3? Is that
I
what
would
you
like
said?
to.
Is that okay with you, Chris? Does it involve anything else?
This is a policy, so this is really laid back. If y'all want to agree to strike number 3, you say strike number 3, approve it, it's struck, and it's done.
Strike number 3.
Yeah, motion to approve with number 3 strike.
I make a motion to strike number 3. And approve the policy.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to item number 12, James Walton will be presenting tonight. This is an ordinance amending the comprehensive zoning of the city of Bryant. Carry on.
Oh, in terms of,
Piece of property, where is it located?
Yes, that property is located, basically the window house. It surrounds the window house. So they're rezoning that from RE to C2.
Next to Big Red. In between the house and Big Red.
Yes, correct. So
Big
it's
Red Court.
GB Mac on the south, Big Red, and that office development on the north.
Who currently owns that property?
The Zellner, yeah. So what happened was individual passed away and it's gone into trust and it's being divvied out. That is why it's actually, the window house is separate. The commercial tract would be much more valuable if they were not keeping the house and bought even something like a neighborhood market at that location. But because that's what that said.
Actually, lost it.
Yeah, so what they're talking about doing is rezoning completely surrounded.
Do you need a first, second, third?
Who is the petitioner?
Zellner?
You need first, second, and third, James?
Yes, is there a motion to put on first, second, and third reading by title only?
Make a motion to approve the ordinance, title only, first, second, and third reading, please.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
An ordinance amending the comprehensive zoning ordinance of the city of Bryant to rezone certain properties from RE residential no sewer to CE highway commercial.
C2 highway commercial.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to adopt, second, this will be a roll call vote.
Billingsley,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Higginbotham,
Yes.
Chandler,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Ordinance 2016-9 has been approved by the city council. To my knowledge, there's no need for an emergency clause on this. Am I correct? Item number 13, this is an emergency clause for the ordinance amending the comprehensive zoning. Was this the emergency clause?
No, this is second, this is different.
Second.
Second one requires an emergency clause first reading.
This is the one north of Fieldstone.
Okay, is there a motion to put on first, second, and third reading by title only? This will also include emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And this is a duplex of 10 units, a Silstone apartment,
It's 10 buildings.
10 buildings.
It's in between the Fieldstone and the back of the shopping center that's got Crowlite, Sherwin-Williams, all those in it. It's on a private drive right there.
An ordinance amending the comprehensive zoning ordinance of the city of Bryant to rezone certain property from C2 highway commercial to PUD planned unit development.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So, second.
All in favor, roll call vote, please.
Billingsley,
Yes.
Higginbotham,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Bryant,
Yes.
Liddell,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Gladden,
Yes.
Chandler.
Yes.
Ordinance approved. Do I have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Why do they need an emergency clause?
To move forward on construction. I've been waiting for a while.
Yeah, it's been requested by the applicant.
We should have came sooner.
Roll call vote, please.
Billingsley,
Yes.
Rodell,
Yes.
Gladden,
Yes.
Chandler,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Higginbotham,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Emergency clause has been adopted for ordinance 2016-10. Last item on the agenda tonight is the resolution directing the city of Bryant to prepare such documents as necessary and to take such steps as necessary to purchase new police vehicles for the Bryant Police Department under the state of Arkansas bid contract.
Move for approval.
Workshop.
Second.
Before, we actually have a motion to officially add this, because it's had added on after the deadline.
I'll make a motion to officially add this to the agenda.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the resolution?
So, yep.
Second.
I have a question. We had discussed this in workshop, and we discussed about
possibly having the 2017 payment taken out of the reserve. Did you check to see if we could transfer that over to general to be able to do that?
Well, we can definitely transfer more money out of that reserve, but we can't use that money specifically for.
Right, but it could go to general.
But yes,
And we can do
increase our
that.
transfer.
We don't have to do it in increments.
No, I don't believe in it. But there's really no reasons to do this. Why don't we look at that in
budget?
2017 budget?
Okay.
Because it won't happen until 2017.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm learning Civic Plus, so next time I'll be on the agenda, correct? What's that resolution number?
Resolution 2016-7. Council, that brings us to mayor's comments. Had a very productive meeting tonight. A lot has gotten done and a lot that we've worked on for many, many months, some years has taken place. Craig Douglas is here. I'd like to, for everybody before we leave tonight, have a chance to say hello to him. He has helped me with the campaign this summer. The committee, Keep Bryant Moving has contracted with him to work to help us get this passed this summer. And look forward to a fun campaign. Thank you very much. Any council comments? Is there a motion to adjourn?